Hi everyone, my name is Isaac.
My name is Marcus.
My name is Joshua.
My name is Haley.
And my name is Christian.
We are from Poland Kuk Choi Kaya School in Hong Kong, and we are in year 9. This podcast is actually for our Global Perspective subject team project. Our topic is poverty and inequality, while our subtopic is the poverty gap. The issue that we are going to be exploring is the high disparity of wealth between the rich and the poor in Hong Kong. So our aim is to raise awareness of the high disparity of wealth between rich and poor in Hong Kong, and our outcome would be a series of podcasts. This is actually just the first podcast of the series. There will be a total of 3 podcasts, and this podcast will be based on the jobs in Hong Kong. For example, the different qualities of jobs and the incomes of jobs.
Let me do an introduction. In the past years, income inequality has been increasing in the whole world. Income distribution refers to how the total income of an economy is distributed among its population. The incomes can be distributed across individuals, households, industries, regions, factors of production, and more.
You can see that there is 2 rows. One row says jobs and one row says average. You can see that average salary of each of these jobs are covered up. Marcus, what do you think that average salary of a tutor would be in Hong Kong?
I'm not sure. Maybe about like $35, I think.
I would say it's a good guess. Let's take a look. Oh, it's actually $200. That's quite a lot actually. Now, what about a waiter or a waitress? What do you think, Joshua?
I think around $50.
Bit more than what you think. So on the screen now, you can see that how each job has different salary, and we can see that the highest one here is actually personal trainer. Now most of these are high paid jobs, and here is why actually, because if you think about it, all of these jobs require special skills or a specific number of years of education, or in other words, education levels. For example, a tutor has a high job income because the parents are more likely to hire people with actual experience, so they are also willing to pay more for these kinds of services.
And here is a graph that shows the evolution of average income in Hong Kong from 1950 to 2019. As we can see from the graph, the average income is steadily increasing. And here shows the poverty situation in Hong Kong with a few statistics. From these, we can see that the poverty line is increasing, and the poverty rate has risen to 20.4% in 2019, which means that for every 5 people in Hong Kong, 1 person lives in poverty. There are a total of 7.45 million people in Hong Kong in 2018. About 1.5 million of them live in poverty. The minimum salary in Hong Kong is 37.5 Hong Kong dollars, and the average hourly rate is around $115. The rich are typically more educated than the poor, which means that they have more job opportunities and a higher salary. As cited from BorgenProject.org, Hong Kong is home to many people of older generations. The combination of changing technologies and markets has impacted those who served in more blue-collar jobs in years past. Furthermore, wealth distribution in Hong Kong is very uneven. The top 10% in Hong Kong earn about 44 times more than the lowest 10%, who fall far below its top monthly earnings.
This graph is from the General Household Survey. The overall trend shows that it is increasing drastically for who gain slight increase for unemployed people. In 2006, 13.1% of the working population, representing 418,600 workers, earned incomes that were less than half of the median income of the working population. Between 1996 and 2006, the number of working poor whose earnings were below this marker has increased by 87.9%.
So as you can see in this graph, the working poor is increasing drastically for gain slight increase, but for the unemployed, it has a slight increase. The working poor increased from 222.8 per mile to 418.6 over the period of 10 years. That was an 87% increase, exponential growth compared to unemployed. It shows that poverty in Hong Kong is slowly getting better, but it's not significant as the pays are low. However, some of the values also contribute from the middle class going to low-paid working poor, suggesting that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, which is a big problem. The unemployed is from 87.4 mile to 170.9 per mile, which is a 96% increase. In 2003, there was SARS, but SARS was in control after June, while COVID stayed more than a year. So which means that in 2003, unemployment has time to recover. Economy is recovering, but in COVID, there's no time to recover as the pandemic is still happening even today. COVID caused more people to lose their jobs. It is worse than SARS. So we can imagine that unemployment will be continue to increase until even now because COVID is still happening.
On the screen now you can see another graph. This graph is actually from the same document. It is also from Oxfam, the same one as before. Now the data here is actually also present in the previous graph. So again, we can see the overall trend from 1990 to 2003 is increasing. So it started from 1.3% unemployment rate to 7.9% unemployment rate. So we can see the highest point on this graph is 2003 because SARS. But again, like Marcus said, because SARS was controlled around 6 months after, so the economy kind of has time to recover from that. But look at now, because COVID has been here for more than a year already. So we can imagine that COVID would actually cause the unemployment rate to skyrocket up even. From the government's data, we can see that in 2020, there has been 6.4% unemployment rate. This data is actually from July to September, as the newest data isn't out yet as at the time of recording this podcast. But the main point here is, who knows how much longer will COVID be? It really affects specific sectors. For example, tourism. We know that a lot of pilots are also losing their jobs. And food service sectors, they combinedly surged by 0.8% point from June to August 2020 to 11.7% in July to September 2020. This is the highest point since the outsource of SARS. So we can see that the food and beverage services activities have soared from 15.2% to 9.5% respectively. We can see that most of the unemployment rate comes from tourism-related sectors. For example, we can see that food has soared to 15.2%. So the government actually released a series of measures to help with this. One of them being to provide employment programs for the youth. According to Oxfam, employee retraining and youth employment programs have been the main means by which the government has addressed the issue of unemployment. These measures are far from adequate, and the government must do much more to address the problem of worsening poverty amongst the working population. However, although it is helping the youth, after the program has ended for them, the people still do not hire these youth because this policy is considered helping ones who are unable to go to university due to bad grades, financial problems, and all sorts.
Let me now talk about how COVID caused more people to lose jobs. Hong Kong-based employees are becoming increasingly proactive about seeking new job opportunities. 49% of employees are currently looking for a new job in May 2020, which marks a 17% increase in the number of active job seekers compared to December 2019. This information is according to the COVID-19 Workforce Sentiment Survey. Of those actively seeking new jobs, 41% rank unsatisfactory salary as the top reason for wanting to make the change, while 33% cited a desire to change their career or the industry they're currently in. Over 8 in 10 Hong Kong employees have shown concern about their job security this year. Additionally, 50% of employees report that their employers have implemented cost-cutting measures, including salary freezes, reduction, and unpaid leave.